when you
Yeah.
were kind of at the peak of, tennis 86, 87, did you like to play recreationally, like in your off time, or were you like, oh, I've had enough tennis, I want to do something else? And if you did, was there somebody that was like a rival, somebody that if they came to the courts, you would be like, let's go. Let's do this. Let's
I'll tell you who came to the courts and I played with more than anyone else. Todd Callagher.
Oh,
Oh,
God.
okay.
Okay. All right. Did you know him from New Jersey?
I did not.
Okay.
Okay.
Only from Camp of the Woods.
Okay.
Have
He
you
was
seen?
from,
We have an interview with Jeff Callagher.
yeah.
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 So Bruce and Jeff were pretty. My brother Bruce and Jeff were pretty close in age. They got to know each other, and then
I
I
think you
got to know
mentioned
Todd
that.
because he kept showing up to tennis courts wanting to hit. So we used to hit all the time.
All right.
Yeah. So it got competitive?
Well, we never played points. We just hit
Yeah. Well,
rally
you
back and
kept
forth.
track in your head. You both did. I
Yeah.
mean, you're competitive guys. You're like, right?
Well, my last year on staff, I was on rec staff, and I was overseeing a 3-on-3 basketball tournament.
Okay.
Todd Callagher was playing. I think his brother Mark was playing, and James Armstrong was playing,
Right.
and they were going at it pretty good.
Mhm.
And at one point, I'm kind of embarrassed to recall this because at one point I stopped them and I said, in so many words, I said, "Guys, this is 3-on-3 at Camp of the Woods. This is not the NBA. Relax." But they were just playing hard, and there's nothing
Those
wrong with it.
words, those words do not make sense to those men.
No, it didn't. It did not. But I look back on it, and like there's nothing wrong with playing hard.
Right. Yeah. No.
Well, nothing wrong except when it supersedes friendship and good sportsmanship.
I and it's a Camp of the Woods, and I lack for this particular incident, but knowing all those guys to some extent, like
Yeah, they left it on the court.
they left it on the exactly.
Yes. Yeah.
They left it on the court when it was over. They
But
were
while you're on the court, we are not
no,
friends.
oh yeah, no, and but when it's over, and
Yeah.
then there's bragging rights, yeah, for sure, and but it wasn't gonna ruin friendships or
No.
that's do you, you remember in some of the practices, like Keith, you were there for some of those basketball practices we had or pickup games or whatever. They got competitive too, and thinking of Scott and Earl Johnson and Dallas and like they were
None
kind
of
of
those guys have
similar.
tempers.
Yeah. Right. You have memories
Well,
of that?
I remember the staff guest games. We'd meet in the lobby, the two teams, as I recall, and someone would, give a little short speech, and we'd say a prayer, and
Yep.
remember what we're all here about, and
Right.
then once you get on the court, the blood starts to flow, and
It's so good. So
Yeah.
good.
Imagine what it was, what it would have been like if not for that pregame mental, spiritual, preparation. Like, because they did.
Yeah.
I look back and think that would be hard to replicate these days. To have that level of competition that goes to a line but not past it most of the time, and still is all in the context of
Exactly.
yeah. So
I
yeah,
mentioned that was the most fun I had playing basketball because that old gym with the bleachers,
Oh yeah.
it used to get really stifling hot. It had no ventilation. It was loud. It was a great atmosphere, I felt.
yeah,
All those things some people might consider negative.
Yeah, no, in my book, it was okay.
That's
yeah.
amazing.
You know what's weird, Keith? Too is like for those weeks. Well, a full summer for you, but a half a summer for me. Like we lived up there, so we lived in that little a room that no one knew about. Like only, I wouldn't say, not only did staff not know about that room, only half of the rec staff did, because like to get there, there was one door that came from the back of the gym, another door in from inside the lobby, and no one had any reason to go in that door except for if you were in rec staff, there were like basketballs that were stored there, or some rec staff equipment. But little did anyone notice there was a stairway that went up, and it was dark, and then that's where our room was. And so like after one of those staff guest basketball games, um, it was where all the action was, where like you said, it was hot, it was loud, the pep band was there. And then a few hours later, we were sleeping up there, and we were like, man, all that just happened just down below where we were. And now you could hear a mouse
Yeah.
crawl across the floor.
So Don, when we broke in and got the trampoline out, that would have been in that room,
That
right?
was the other end. That was the other end. That was next to the stage.
But it's still
Yeah.
something someone up there would have heard us doing.
Oh, for sure.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that was a very unique perspective that Keith had there. And
Also, Keith, we obviously overlapped because I was there 86, 87, 88,
Okay.
and my wife was there 87, 88. But we didn't run in the same circles apparently.
No, who's your wife?
Her name was Lori Orser.
What does she do?
She was housekeeping. She actually, her first summer, she was the assistant team director. Second summer, she did housekeeping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you met at camp and started dating pretty
Met at
quickly?
camp within 2 days.
I have that story, Tom. You've written it down. It's going to come
Yeah,
out. I promise you.
yeah. I showed her to her room and showed her parents around. So yeah, I wasn't
Oh,
letting it
because
go,
her
Keith.
first summer was your second summer?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, we've been married 35 and a half years now. So it's been amazing.
Kids?
We have 4 kids, 5 grandkids.
Oh, wait, 4 kids and 5 grandkids?
4 kids, 5 grandkids.
Wow.
Yeah. The footprint is growing. How about you?
Well, so I got married later in life, age 45 to be exact.
Not a camp person either.
Not a camp person.
Okay.
A South Carolina person.
Well,
Um,
a Southern Belle.
a Southern Belle. So we have 3 boys, 12, 9, and 6. I have a camp story relating to my wife. We got engaged in 2010, and right after that, we took a trip north to visit my family and friends in New Jersey.
They're still in New Jersey?
Well, at that point, just my aunt and uncle.
Okay.
And then I had some high school friends. And then we went into New York as well. I had lived in New York City for a couple of years. So this is late June, and it's hot, especially in the city. The heat has nowhere to go. So we spend a weekend doing that. And then we drive north to Schenectady, where I went to college.
Okay.
And it's midday, and it's mid 70s maybe, and there's a breeze, and it's noticeably cooler than it had been in the city. And I'm walking around campus, and I'm thinking, gee, if it's this cool in Schenectady, what's it going to be like at Camp of the Woods?
Mm-hmm.
So we get there, and the next couple of days, the high temperature is in the 50s.
Even more so than
We are on the cusp of July. My wife thinks I've taken her to the North Pole. Fortunately, it warmed up after a couple of days, and she saw how beautiful the place is. But
Yeah.
Okay.
unfortunately, I think that first impression left a mark on her as
Yeah,
far as
it dug a
Temple was.
hole, but there's time to catch up, and
Yeah.
he'll hear stories from your family, and your boys are still, what do you say, 12, 9, and 6?
12, 9, and 6. Yeah.
Have
Yeah.
they been to camp?
Yes. The
All right.
last time we were there was 2021. We had a family reunion,
Oh,
my
nice.
side of the family.
Awesome.
Okay.
Awesome.
That's awesome. I'm glad your
Yeah.
kids were able to get there. My kids have never been there.
Oh,
And Don's kids weren't there till 2 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah. They were there when they were very little. They didn't remember
Yeah.
it, but
Right.
Anna was 7. Claire was,
Yeah.
yeah, 3. So 2. But yeah, going back in 2023 was their first time there. They that they could take it in, and um, so yeah, it's hard. It's been hard to really try to explain to them what it's all about. And
You have to experience it.
yeah, God's perfect timing is, you gotta accept it, and believe it, and know that if He thinks it's important for them to do, then there's plenty of time for that to happen. Um, it was so formidable in my life, and just talking to Keith, still have a couple things to bring up with him, but
Well, we got a whole list for Mrs. Purdy we haven't touched yet,
well,
too. So,
let's do it. I got my own, but yeah, I
yeah.
don't know how much time you have, Keith.
All
But yeah,
right.
let's go.
We covered how you got there. We covered the jobs that you had. It was 88 your last year?
yes.
Okay. And then, all right, did you read Don's book? Have you read Don's
Yes.
book? Okay.
Yeah, I devoured it.
Any
So,
memories come back that you'd forgotten until you're like, oh my goodness, I totally forgot about that.
Not so much, but after I read it, I started insisting that people refer to me as an exceptionally fit tennis pro.
that's
That's
on the record.
that is fantastic.
Yeah.
I feel some camaraderie here, Keith, because I make people say that I'm referenced 63 times in Don's
Yeah.
book. Yeah, that is hilarious. I absolutely love that.
You
Oh
were
my
next,
gosh.
Keith. Yeah. So,
An exceptionally fit. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So as I say, I devoured it. I mean, any opportunity to go down memory lane, I'm up for, because I never, when camp was at its best for me, I never wanted summer to end. Wanted it to go on forever.
Totally get that. Yes. Yeah. Unfortunately, it does. But I honestly think some of the value is because it is a limited quantity.
Mhm.
And if it did go on forever, it just would lose the value. So
Yep.
you can't recreate it, you can't go back. And that's why it's so extremely valuable.
Yeah.
yeah.
Here's a question
When
for
did you
you.
get so wise?
I listened to Don.
Okay.
Oh,
That's what does it.
no,
So
I'm still playing catch up. So yeah.
here's a good question for you. With which camp person would you wish to reconnect?
Um, I'm trying to think how honest I should be.
I think you should be totally honest. Is there no one? Well, are you still in touch with other camp staff members?
I'm not.
Okay.
So Pete
Wide open.
Witkowski, I don't know if
Oh.
either of you know him.
I know the name, yeah.
He lives near Charlotte. I was on
Okay.
Snack Shop with him in '83.
Okay.
I would love to connect with Earl Johnson, Nate Forrester, Steve Bain, Jay Briggs.
That crew.
That
Okay.
crew.
Okay.
Make that happen.
That's fantastic. Yeah, we
They
should
would
make
love
that
to
happen,
connect with
Don.
you too. Yeah.
Yeah. Those guys are all fantastic. Those guys are awesome.
I can
Yeah.
tell you, Keith, those guys, I don't want to put words in their mouth, but I know I'm right about this, and they would not, they would admit it, not deny it. Those guys all felt like in some way individually, for some reason, there was a misfit element to them, and camp
Mm.
uh, helped like
Yeah.
level the playing field. But even to that extent, their connection with Keith Young was one that took that individually and collectively up a level. That Keith Young was part of our group, and there was, you guys played intramural basketball, and you were just kind of a cool guy that lent them something to their group, and so to hear you say that about them, I promise you that each and every one of them would say
It's
even more
mutual.
so the same thing about you.
Yeah. So we've interviewed Jay, Nate, Earl. We've
Mhm.
Yeah,
we've interviewed
that's
all of them. You have to go back and watch those
Yeah.
interviews there,
yeah.
especially if you like the nostalgia. But
Steve
that
Bain, we will too,
yeah,
and with Steve Solom, yes, those, yeah.
yeah. Okay. So those are guys you'd like to reconnect with. That's good to know. What is your favorite camp landmark or location?
Um, well, I bet you've never had this answer before. So after my years on staff, I would go back as a guest from time to time and notice the physical changes taking place from year to year.
Mm.
And I was always looking for something that reminded me of my time on staff. And I would find it if I was walking from the tennis courts field house up to the dining hall, um, when Girls Park was still there and the trees were still there,
Mhm.
say at dinner time, 5:30, 6 o'clock, the way the sun would hit the trees, if I looked up there, it brought me back because it was exactly the same.
Hmm.
Hmm.
But when they cleared that, they took the trees down.
Yep.
Hmm.
Um, so I missed that along with other things.
Very
But I
interesting.
I do think that, like, we've stayed in the beachfront accommodations a couple times, and
Hmm.
I think that those accommodations are nice in the way that they're updated, they're comfortable, they're well laid out, while also retaining at least some of the spirit and tradition architecturally of camp.
Of a 125-year-old location.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that started out as a quite rustic place.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm.
Okay.
They are. Yeah, they're different
Don,
answers.
that is easily the most thoughtful response we've received to that question from anyone we've talked to.
Agreed.
Everyone usually just says, "Oh, the point," or the tree in front of the snack shop, or
Yeah.
this rock, whatever. But that,
Yeah. Keith threw in a time of day.
yeah, right. Yeah, that's next level, Keith. Thank you. Um, do you have any pranks from camp?
I wasn't a prankster. Um,
Okay.
yeah,
Did you ever get pranked?
not that I recall. I
Okay.
I I do recall in '88 eating lunch with the crew
The
in the
crew.
dining hall the night after their big caper.
Okay,
Yeah,
here it is.
and some because I knew nothing about it, and so they were there at lunch, and I think someone said, I don't know if it was your father, Don, or somebody wanted to see them, and some, something, and I remember Nate saying or somebody saying something like, "Oh, it's starting," or they knew they were gonna. I think they knew they were gonna get caught.
They knew it before they did it. I don't even know all they did. So Don is in the process of writing his second book,
Mhm.
and that will be featured, Don, I think, in some
It
way.
will, Tom, and you could see every second of that interview because we did it on your private channel here because you have more of the
I
space. Yeah.
I have I have chosen not to view it because I want to get the anticipation to build for your book, and we're
Okay.
gonna read about it
Well,
there.
Oh, what Keith just, oh my gosh, this is great.
Hilarious, Keith.
It is, because what he just revealed uh, corroborates with Tim Sandoval saying it was late morning, and he was the first of that group to hear that it had been discovered that the prank had happened,
Yeah.
and they were looking for suspects. And the only reason he knew about it first was because he was Odd Jobs Unit 8, and he had a radio, and he had heard,
He intercepted a call.
yeah, that it was chatter was going back and forth that something had happened and they were gonna, and he was like, here it goes. Like, so what Keith just said about
Yeah.
Nate saying, so it begins, like they were, that was like kind of right around that time frame. Tim probably hit it first, and then Keith heard like right after it. That's, oh, I can't wait to add that into the story that I'm writing about. So
Oh my gosh.
yeah.
That's amazing. Keith, the last question I'll pester you with. How would you say camp has changed your life or
Well, I'm
influenced?
going to go thoughtful again, if that's all right.
I think that's fantastic. And for the rest of our guests, shame on you for not being more like Keith. Come on.
Be who you are, but this is yeah.
So I was my first summer, I was still in high school, and the second summer was right before I went to college, and the remaining summers were during college. And I struggled in college. I won't uh, go into it too much, but um, struggled with issues of depression,
Mm.
and well, struggled with depression. And the summers at camp were a great counterpoint to that because I enjoyed myself so much. And if
Love
it
it.
had, if the depression had continued unabated those years without the summer breaks, it would have been worse for me. So
Hmm.
quite grateful to have had those summers at Camp of the Woods.
Yeah, Keith, you're saying this. I had no idea. That is really quite a revelation to me, because as I viewed you at camp all those years, I mean, you just carried yourself as someone cool, calm, collective. That
Mm.
and I still believe that was true. Even whatever was going on, but I just never ever would have thought that you would have struggled with anything remotely close to that. That's thanks for sharing that. It was revealing. I had no idea.
Yeah. I think
Um,
it may be more common than we know, Don.
I suppose so. Yeah, and what I can't let our talk go without my experience with Keith living in that sauna up there, up there in the gym. Uh, Keith was instrumental for me in those formative years, Tom. And I know you talk about this a lot with your own, but uh, for all the years I'd been living at camp and had been at staff for a few before that, and I would have been 19 in 1986, and that was the first time anyone my age really ever kind of challenged me or asked me anything spiritual. And here's my memory of how it went down, and I wrote about it a little bit, but um, it was a Sunday night. So the speaker had said something about God and his relationship to the human race that he created, and said something to the effect of, by the way, everyone, you know, God doesn't need us. And he's, in my memory, he said it in a way where after he said that, he left this long dramatic pause, almost as if he knew what he was doing. Like he was creating, like if he could create himself to go to every staff cabin or every guest cabin and have that resonate with people and just kind of open their door and drop a smoke bomb in there and say, "Okay, deal with that." Well, Keith did that with me, and we were there that night. And again, for the years that I had been on staff before that, no one ever did this, but I think we were getting ready to go to bed that night. He's like, "So what did you think about what the speaker said tonight?" And I'm like, "Man, I I probably had the wrong answer, but at least I had an answer that showed I was paying attention. That it didn't sit well with me, and I had no biblical knowledge to support it or deny it. But for some reason, the fact that Keith brought it up, we took the bait, and it was a talking point. But I wasn't going to say anything, but Keith did, and I think we talked, well into the morning hours about that particular sermon. But then it kind of made me realize, with the weeks I had remaining with Keith, that other topics that speakers brought up, um, it kind of opened the door for us to be, hey, what'd you think about what he said, what he said, what he said, where that had never happened before, and it was pivotal for me. I have to say. Keith, I have no idea what you remember about that, but I distinctly do. And I gotta say, I thank you for it. So,
Well, you're quite welcome. My memory of our discussions is limited. I was afraid to say more focused on myself at that time, and so again, without I'll try to keep it brief, but
you don't have
my
to.
experiences, my first couple of years of college, sort of upended the faith that I had had prior to college. So
Hmm.
um, I was at that time, I would say, searching for uh, searching for answers, searching for where I could feel uh, searching for where I stood in all of that.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so Don, that's really interesting because you've mentioned this before about the conversations the two of you had, but you're thinking of it from your perspective. Maybe Keith needed that conversation just as much as you.
yeah. Well, maybe so, but I distinctly remember the fact that he was the one that brought it up. It wasn't me.
Okay.
I
But
was gonna sit there and internalize it or do whatever, and not realize that it was even I was supposed to have a conversation about it at 19. I quite honestly, Tom, you brought this up before about my uncle Bob bringing
yeah.
spirituality to staff. I had always just assumed that the messages were intended for the guests, and whatever the staff could get out of it, fine, whatever. But um, I kind of realized that night that wait a minute, we're supposed to be hearing this too.
Yeah, we're part of the purpose of camp, which your uncle really focused on, which was fantastic, and the impact. I think what we're seeing here is probably Keith was a little more mature than some of your other friends like me to be able to have a because I remember that time in my life looking back thinking, what a knucklehead, you wasted all those amazing speakers that are world class speakers, and just was not my focus at that age because I wasn't there yet.
Well, you derived a benefit from other
But
parts of the Christian experience at camp.
yes, yeah, but I think you look back and you're thinking, well, I really would have paid a little more attention to this rather than that. But
Hmm.
that's something you gain with maturity. I think maybe Keith is saying he was already focused on some of those things just by the fact that you were struggling with it. Other people don't think that way, Keith. They don't bother struggling with it. They just let it pass, right? So you were introspective on it, and Don was the beneficiary of your introspection and the conversations you were able to have. That's you probably had no idea you had that impact on Don until now, right?
Well, yeah, it's been reading the book, so that was you know the
Yeah,
first inkling of that.
yeah, yeah. Well, I think it's fantastic to be able to connect 38 years later and acknowledge what God was able to do through you. That's fantastic.
Yeah. And I also feel like, and this is true as of today, Keith he measured his words, he was not one to, just whatever they call it, word vomit. He just wasn't, when he spoke, it was okay. Let's tune in because, his words are few, but they're thoughtful and,
Don's
so
drawing, Don's drawing a contrast between the two of us. That's
no,
that's that's what I'm seeing here.
well, there is a contrast, but they're both strengths by both of you. But it's one of the things we have to learn about the people that we surround ourselves with is
Okay,
what their strengths are.
so we got serious. Let's talk about uh stop the tall man,
Oh,
raise the
okay.
tiger, right?
Wait, we were serious, and now we're okay.
No, we're gonna continue being serious. So
Yeah, yeah, we're
uh,
gonna we're gonna bring it home with this because unless Keith can bring in whatever he wants afterward. We have to
yeah.
get this in. You're right.
So Keith, you've read this, I take it,
Yes,
and you kind of lived it, right?
yes.
It is one of the more haunting books I've ever read,
Agreed.
and it I mean, my heart goes out to your brother because that is a lot to go through and still stand strong in your faith. I mean, I really commend him for surviving, first of all, but then coming through and you see the email he sent just today. He's thriving in his faith in spite of the challenges he's gone through, which in my and I mean the conclusion I come to whenever I see someone like your brother go through that, or even in my own life story, Satan thinks he's going to bring us down with these attacks. He just actually creates battle hardened warriors, right? So now your brother is a battle tested warrior, and he's even more powerful for what God wants to do in his life. I'm really curious about your perspective while he's going through all this, and you had to see some of this maybe, and you're just were you guys interacting on this topic?
Well, um, so from my perspective, Peter finished at George Washington and almost immediately went out west, out
Okay.
to Boulder, Colorado.
Yep.
Eventually landed in Idaho, where he met Michelle. So I remained on the East Coast. Um, would see him at family get-togethers and whatnot. Um, he got married, I think, in '97. Um, you know, Uncle Robert at that time was something of a concern, but not enough to keep him from getting married.
Yeah.
Did you know him? So you met him like?
So Peter had mentioned him before he got married, and so when we went to the wedding, at the ceremony, Uncle Robert spoke,
Okay.
and I thought he was harmless. I didn't really understand what he said, um, but I didn't see him as a destructive figure.
Hmm,
Um,
hmm.
but that's just on the basis of one weekend and one 15-minute homily.
Yeah.
And so where I'm going with this is that Peter and Michelle live thousands of miles away, and they kept things in house. So I got a, I don't, I 2016 or 17, I got a call from my oldest brother David saying Peter wants to talk to you. You should call him. And I didn't know why. He told me Michelle had left him and taken the 3 younger children.
Mm.
I did not see that coming at all.
Wow.
Had no idea. So as Peter was going through that difficult time, we talked quite frequently.
Okay.
So in that sense, well, I was in much more frequent contact with him during that time than I had been previously.
Mhm.
So when I read the book, you know, at the point where I started communicating with him more frequently, you know, that was familiar. But all the stuff that came before was new to me
Yeah.
Hmm.
because that was not something that he shared with
Sure.
me, and I think with anyone in
Yeah.
our family.
Well, he said in the book that he kept it without sharing it. My recollection was didn't share it with his brothers or family for a couple reasons. One was because he still was really wrestling with it himself. Like, is this really happening?
Yeah.
Second of all, if it was really happening, he was kind of embarrassed. Like he
Yeah.
couldn't see it and didn't know. And I
Yep.
remember a point in the book where he said where he finally felt like he needed to just explode and share it with you all was a huge relief. And not surprisingly, you all, his brothers, couldn't have been more supportive and basically said, my gosh, well, why didn't you share this earlier? Is what I read. And I had a couple conversations with him afterwards, and Tom and I talked with him. And, but yeah, anyway, it's so interesting.
Well, from my perspective, she liked to keep things in house, to say the least.
Yeah.
Very private, you know, things kept under tight wraps. And, you know, Peter had to um, go along with that to stay in her good graces. And Peter was wholly and completely in love with her. And the last thing he wanted was for his marriage to end.
Yep.
Um,
Mm.
so, I mean, uh, I was quite impressed by Peter's resiliency throughout all that
Oh, no kidding.
because
Yeah.
he always got up off the mat and got back at it and refused to lay down and quit. And I think part of that is a testimony to being the athlete he was, the discipline that goes into that.
Sure.
And part of that is a testament to his character.
Yeah. I would wonder, Keith, his faith, obviously, he would admit, he admitted it was tested heavily,
Yeah.
but there was a foundation there, which his Uncle Robert made him question far too often. But to what extent do you think that his resilience could have come from him being the youngest brother of all of you? That growing up, you were the ones beating on him and giving him the
A
uh,
brother is born for adversity.
yeah, right.
Mhm.
Had to play some role, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he was always looking to, you know, make his mark and not just be the younger brother. And he turned
Mhm.
out to be the tallest, the best basketball player out of all of us.
Yeah.
Um, when I was in ninth grade and he was in seventh grade, I could take him where I wanted on the court, and he used to have to shoot from outside. And
Ah.
then by 4 or 5 years later, the roles were reversed. Um, but
Yeah.
in my own case, when I struggled my freshman year, one thing I was able to do was study uh, for a number of reasons, but one of which was the example set by my parents, and in particular my father, which was, he exemplified what it is to be responsible, to be a professional. You get up and you go to work. If you don't feel like it, some days you feel like it, some days you don't, some days it's middle of the road, but no matter what, you get up and you do your job. And so I think all of us have that
Work ethic.
in us.
Work ethic, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's great. It's great. Yeah.
Yeah. How do you think he's doing now? He seems to be, I mean, from our interview, he seemed to be doing much better. And, we're getting the emails, they're very positive.
Well, he is doing well. I hope I'm not telling tales out of school, but he has met someone,
Here we go.
yeah, of whom he is quite fond.
That's fantastic. I'm so
So,
happy for him.
yeah,
Okay. That's fantastic.
yeah.
I love it. And is he in touch with his kids? I think some of them.
Well, he has custody of the youngest.
Okay.
The second youngest is still living with him. The older three, I would say, varies from little or no contact to semi-regular contact.
Yeah. Still work in progress, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. When's the next time, Keith, you foresee at least a majority of the young family getting together again?
Well, so my mother's older brother passed in September at the age of 90.
Okay.
So in October, there was a service in New Jersey. And the five of us, the brothers, were able to attend, which was nice. And then the service was down in Bloomfield, Essex County, New Jersey.
Okay.
And in the evening, we went up to Ridgewood, the five of us, and had a nice dinner.
Right.
And spent time together, walking around our old stomping grounds.
Right.
Nice.
Yeah.
So my parents live in California now. I'm going out for a few days after Christmas. I'll see some number of them, possibly all four. We'll see.
Great. Love to hear it. Yeah. So
Let's do.
Yeah, we'll.
We don't want to keep you too much longer, Keith, but let's do. Does he know we have these pictures or not?
I doubt it. I got them from Beth Markel today.
Okay.
So, well, yeah.
We just have a couple of pictures here from.
One's a solo and one's a group pick, and we're Keith and I are in it. We'll have to figure out what. There we go.
All right, so Keith, you remember these good-looking guys?
Yeah, I think that's 86.
Sounds right.
So Alan Hodge.
Yeah.
I don't know who the one in the baseball cap is.
I do. I believe that's Evan Christensen, who was here's where it gets crazy. I went to high school with him, so we lived in the area, but he was in the band. So I can't figure out what the common denominator here is for the four of us to be there at that moment. But
Are you
whatever.
sure that's Evan?
I think so. Anyone watching in the YouTube comments, please.
Let us know.
Yeah, let us know if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
But I think that is. And, if not, tell me who it is. But I believe that's Evan. So we love any kind of engagement. So
this would have been 86. Okay.
Yeah, sounds right.
And then I don't know where.
There's a movie star right there.
Yeah. I almost want to see the rest of the picture.
Well, I can tell you, I'm pretty sure where this This is 83.
Oh, all right.
The
Okay.
snack shop staff went to some lake nearby, and the name escapes me. Moffett Beach.
Okay.
Okay.
For at the end of the summer, we had a like a little party at
There you
Moffett
go.
Beach,
There you go.
and I bet I'm going to go out on a limb and say the guy with the cutoff sweatshirt next to me, that looks like Mark August.
Oh, all right. So is it
Yeah,
Keith?
that's why I want the fuller picture to see
Yeah.
what was cut out of this picture and why did it need to be cut out?
I don't know. Beth is the picture guru. She's got the
Right.
best camp library of pictures, and I texted her a few days saying we're gonna have a few days ago, telling her we're gonna have Keith on, and like, hey, any pictures of Keith? And her business is a seasonal business, and right now is like, put it this way, she sent these to me at about 4:15 this morning. I'm like, oh, why is my phone buzzing? And I don't know if she was already awake or still awake, but
Yeah.
she had the presence of mind to remember that we were talking to Keith tonight and sent me these at least. So
That's amazing.
Well, props to her because if I'm not mistaken, I've seen this picture and it's a picture of the whole staff.
okay,
So this
Okay.
is, I mean, a nice job of cropping. If you want just one person,
Yeah, that's all
she
I
did it.
got. So, okay.
yeah,
I just have one more picture, but it's not from camp. Who are these guys?
yeah, there we go.
I think this is the other three that we've not spoken to, Don, right?
I remember Bruce well. Bruce was, and Keith, you'll maybe this is a point of contention in terms of brotherly rivalries, but Bruce to me was, he had the look of any Hollywood movie that featured the quarterback on the football team that was, either you loved him or hated him, but everyone knew him. Like he was athletic, and the blonde hair, and he was just like, and yeah, he was a great volleyball player, right? I think he went to Pepperdine, but Bruce was, yeah, he just had that superstar look about him, and so anyway, I remember him, and is that Gordon or
So from Bruce, that's Peter, and then
yeah,
next to
Peter in the
Peter is
middle,
Gordon.
right? Yeah, sure,
Okay, Peter's in the middle.
Peter's
yeah,
in the middle.
Okay, yeah. And then who's on the far right?
Gordon, second oldest.
Gordon. Okay. So
okay,
who's missing from the picture besides you?
David, the oldest.
all
Okay.
right. Well, wait a minute, who's either that is
And what are we doing here?
the Adams family and the It Hand, or that's one
Well,
person.
I don't know how we must have gotten this picture from Peter, right?
Yeah. I think he
Uh,
sent it to me, and we put it up during his talk. Yeah,
yeah.
but
Okay.
we could further dissect it now too. Look at they're all looking down, like, what's going on down there?
Yeah, like, oh, what's going on here? Yeah. Amazing. Well, Keith, this was really fun talking with you, catching up on your life at camp, and I do. All seriousness, I really do appreciate the thoughtfulness of some of your answers. That was really awesome. It was good stuff.
Pensive,
Yeah.
classic Keith. Yeah.
Well,
There-
it was a delight for me.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, Keith. There's a video I wanted to share during this, but I tried to bring it up today, and my video camera from '84. They're not like they are today, but I have um, a video clip of it's during the first. It must have been '84, and it's in the old gym, and it's during the basketball clinic. So I'll try to put everyone where I was when I was taking it. I was still a camper in clinic. I must have been 17, and I had the video camera, but it's so dark. And I know there's ways to enhance videos today, and we might have to do it. And I'll maybe try to, if I can do it, I'll show it during this when we air it. But
Send it to me,
across,
give it a shot.
yeah, maybe you have ways, Tom, but um, the players are all going out there, but it's a packed gym, and in the front row across, so I'm sitting on the side of the gym that is like the woodland side, pointing toward the teepee side of the gym. And there's in the front row, it's a packed gym. My grandfather walks by, finds his seat, and he's wearing white pants and a Hawaiian shirt, which means that it would have been the uh, luau night, the Hawaiian luau night
Yeah.
there. And he sits down right next to Keith Young. It's a power row, and they turn to each other and they say something. They have a conversation, but whatever it is, it. Oh, it's a pity that the quality's so poor. But if I could bring it up and try to enhance it in some way, I could tell. I know, obviously my grandfather. I know Keith, and they were sitting next to each other, and they turned to each other. And maybe they were placing a wager on the game or something. I don't know. I'll do the clip. I'll send it to you. Maybe I'll try to put it out there. But yeah, just another thing we can add to just this has been a fantastic conversation, Keith.
Yes.
Well, your grandfather, from time to time, used to call me David.
Oh. Why?
So which I can forgive with all the staff members and families he had seen through the years.
Okay,
forgivable in my book.
Nice you get to cut him some slack on that.
So that's the conversation. He sits down, he says, "Hi, David," and Keith says, "I'm not David, I'm Keith." That's the whole conversation.
For the 1,000th time. How many times do I have to tell you?
Oh my gosh!
No, they look like they were having fun. So, but
too good.
Yeah, but yeah, this has been great. Keith,
so I'm, the stars will have to align, but I'm hoping to make it for the reunion in August.
Oh, there we go. We're gonna put this on our old friend Jimmy Olsen. We gotta
Jimmy.
Yeah, we'll let's turn up the heat on this. So, yep.
It's up to Jimmy and Beth. Let's make it happen.
Yep. Point well taken. We'll thanks to Keith bringing it up here. We'll turn it up and try to help make it happen. So,
thanks for spending the night with us. This was a blast, Keith.
My pleasure.
Yeah.
Yep.
Great to see you, Keith.
Yeah, likewise.
Great talking.
Thanks. All right. Good night, my friends.
We'll see you guys later.
Okay.